How do you find your favorites? Think about your favorite book, movie, game, whatever piece of art speaks to you. How did you find out about it? Maybe it was one of the first things you played, so you loved it without question. Maybe a friend or relative showed it to you, not knowing the impact it would have. Maybe you looked up the best movies of all time, and for once, it actually lived up to that. Or maybe an algorithm gave it to you. Algorithms are everywhere, from search engines to chatbots to the judicial system, I guess. But one of the most visible ways we interact with them is through recommendation systems. Whether it's Netflix or Steam or Goodreads, they all attempt to show us the next thing we'll connect with. These algorithms aren't always bad. After all, they're the reason you're watching this video right now. And without them, new releases would be overwhelming. In 2025, almost 60 games released every single day on Steam. Without algorithms, finding the next Titanium Court or Esoteric Ebb would require wading through miles and miles of, we're not going to show that. And in recent years, sites like Ludoscene have used algorithms to connect people with indie games that need exposure the most. Algorithmic recommendations are not always bad. However, they are a little cold. Ludoscene is a great idea, but I've never found it to really help. My YouTube algorithm occasionally serves me a gem, but most of the time, it's just Northern Lion clips, which, to be fair, are good too. The failures of recommendation algorithms have been studied extensively by psychologists and behavioral economists, and oh look, the degree is finally coming in handy. Recommendation systems are built on a constructed model of you, assembled from your clicks, views, purchases, your digital footprint. These models are often scarily detailed, but they frequently don't reflect your actual preferences. If I click on a Mr. Beast video out of morbid curiosity about the decline of modern civilization, and the algorithm concludes that Mr. Beast is all I want to see, that's a mismatch. This is on top of the human brain's own failure to choose long-term benefit over immediate pleasure. I know I should play 1,000 Times Resist. I've heard it's amazing, it would probably change my life. But Vampire Crawlers has so many lights and it's so pretty, and let's just do another 2 hours of that. Recommendation algorithms also reduce the diversity of what we encounter, crowding out smaller works. In the early 2000s, Amazon used an algorithm to recommend books to people. It worked well until it ran into a problem, the Harry Potter problem. Harry Potter was so popular that it got recommended to almost everyone. Reading Narnia? Try Harry Potter. Reading Italo Calvino? Try Harry Potter. Reading all 6 volumes of the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire? Try a Harry Potter, I guess. I acknowledge that, in the grand scheme of problems with algorithms, which games or videos get recommended to us is a small one. But still, there is such a joy in finding something you truly connect with, something that feels like it was made just for you. And I worry that our formative experiences with media are going to be shaped less by spontaneity and personal connection, less by bonding with someone over a piece of art, and more by our digital model. Tiny Bookshop is the future I'm looking for. Tiny Bookshop sees you open, a tiny bookshop in a mythical seaside town where everyone carries tote bags and reads The New Yorker. Each day, you fill your store with books and sell them. It's a pretty standard management game. But the thing that keeps me coming back is that every few minutes, someone asks for your advice in finding a book. Maybe they want a long classical novel they can really sink into, or a sweeping sci-fi like Dune, or a factual book that's also poetry somehow. It's up to you to look through what's on offer and find something for them. Crucially, of the nearly 1,000 books in the game, the vast majority are real. And like another recent favorite, Perfect Tide Station to Station, there's a wonderful diversity on offer here. You will find everything, from the Song of Achilles to the Bell Jar to the Court of Thorns and Roses series, on which I will use my best judgment and not say anything on. You can recommend almost anything to almost anyone. 10-year-old wants a quick read? Here, take Parable of the Sower. I think it would be a good learning experience, even if her parents might disagree. But you want to make good recommendations. It gives you a mechanical boost, a little bump in sales for the next minute, but it also just feels nice. People are placing their trust in you, That's a trust you shouldn't take for granted. I almost always found myself leaning towards recommending books I had actually read, because I knew I could trust them. I found myself smiling when handing over, say, The Picture of Dorian Gray, because I knew how much that book had affected me, and maybe it could do the same for someone else. These recommendations are also wonderfully fluid. You're not checking off a list of boxes, but thinking about these stories and whether they would fit what the person is asking for. Monster says it's a dark crime thriller about a serial killer, which this gore-seeking reader might love, but I also know it's more of a slow burn study of guilt. Ted Chiang's short stories are technically speculative sci-fi, but they also work great for anyone looking for something a little more philosophical. This is, to be clear, a good thing. It stops the recommendations from ever feeling automatic, and the game often accounts for that extra layer of detail. Giving Jane Eyre to someone who loved the romance of Scott Pilgrim is a perfectly viable move, might even work better than you'd expect. And let me just say, this short interaction, listening to a few lines of dialogue and picking out a book, already feels so much more meaningful than similar moments in other cozy games. I like Stardew Valley, but giving gifts to villagers there captures none of the depth that giving things to people actually involves. I want to give Abigail a gift that shows I listen and engage with her, not because I read on the wiki that she likes chocolate cake. Recommending something, or giving a gift, is also never one-sided like this. It's a mix of believing the other person would enjoy it and explaining why you did. If someone recommended Signalis to me, I'd want to hear what it meant to them, not that it has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. This act of learning how to listen ties into Tiny Bookshop's wider story, which is about helping people through burnout and old age. Your empathy in the bookstore is inextricably tied to your empathy everywhere else. Tiny Bookshop is a simple game, but it imagines recommendations, not dictated by algorithms and constructed models, but by a genuine desire to help someone have a good experience. And just as the books in the game are drawn from the real world, so should the takeaway be. I know I usually wrap these videos up with existential dread, and don't worry, there will be plenty of that in the future. But Tiny Bookshop is too sincere for that. So instead, I'll end with a request. Recommend something. An indie game, a book, a video. Call a friend or family member, think about what they'd enjoy, and tell them what it meant to you. Or leave a comment below, and I'll take a look. At the very least, you'll save someone from whatever's sitting at the top of their recommended videos. And at the best, you'll give someone a new favorite. And the next time somebody asks them the question I asked at the start of the video, how do you find your favorites? They'll have an answer. You.